Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Thursday, the 4th of December. This is CTV News. Tonight, here comes the deep freeze. Communities prepare for colder air. A cannabis crackdown. Government to target illegal shops. And the bear's necessities. New sanctuary for cubs coming to Hope for Wildlife.
Live from our Maritimes News Center. This is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. As we speak, this early December evening is starting to feel like mid-January. Before long, a polar vortex will make it feel like minus 30 in parts of our region. Temperature was certainly falling. The winds picking up in the Fredericton area today, but it will only get worse, especially further north. That includes Edmundston, where, fortunately, the out of the cold shelter just opened on Monday.
And it's the first time that we have an out of cold shelter. We did not have that in our city before. So we had some couple of days back in January 2025, where we hit the minus 40 degrees. So at least for this upcoming season, we will have a place for them.
Shelter has room for 18 people, but can accommodate as many as 27 if necessary. New Brunswick EMO also warning people about frostbite, reminding us it can set in after just a few minutes. Elsewhere in the region, communities and utilities preparing for the freezing temperatures as well. CTV's Emma Convey has more on that for us.
This shelter in Halifax is at full capacity, providing 30 men with a place to stay. On nights like tonight, when temperatures drop into minus teens, they're forced to turn people away.
Puts a lot of pressure on us, you know, do you break a rule? Do you bring a bid in? Do you bring a fella in because it's freezing out, you know? You make calls, you call the other shelters.
Since the space opened in February, the beds have been filled every night.
With the freezing rain and snow we had, there were people basically coming down almost every hour and a half looking for a place to sleep just to get out of the weather, you know. And with the way the regulations work and with insurance, we don't really have that opportunity to bring in unless it's, unless we have the permission from the city in order to open up more emergency beds.
The city of Halifax says they have 4 shelters that will be open tonight: Halifax Forum, Windmill Road, North Park, and Beacon House. Nova Scotia Power is also opening its Emergency Operations Centre tonight. There are currently ferry cancellations in Cape Breton due to the wind. The ferry between Nova Scotia and PEI is cancelled tomorrow as well. And CTV News meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell says most of Nova Scotia will feel into the minus 20s with the wind chill, leading to an earlier start for this community organization's heating and hydro support program.
Started the emergency assistance program a little bit earlier this year, and what we were finding is that more people are coming to us.
Parker Street, as well as many others around the city, are also collecting and giving out warm clothes to help those outside, especially as this is just the start to the cold days. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Some pushback from Nova Scotia Power tonight, denying suggestions from the Premier the utility might be breaking the law with its current billing practices. In a letter to the Energy Board that was released yesterday, Tim Houston said, quote, "It is not lost on me or the board that knowingly overbilling would constitute regulatory fraud, and misrepresenting revenue to the markets is a form of securities fraud." In a statement, the utility dismissed any suggestions it's breaking regulatory laws or securities rules. Senior company spokesperson Jacqueline Foster says, quote, "In spite of everything that's transpired since the initial cyber attack, we're working very hard to restore all of our system functionality." The company has said the personal and financial information of about 280,000 customers was accessed in that hacking incident back in the spring, but that's only part of the problem. Customers have been complaining about inflated bills, surprise bills, consecutive charges, and a general lack of communication about billing adjustments. In addition, last night at this time, I said the company can no longer trust the usage data it receives from those hundreds of thousands of smart meters that were installed. The company also asked us to clarify that information, insisting the meters are accurately recording usage as they're supposed to. Quoting Jacqueline Foster again, the issue is that since the cyber incident, they, meaning the meters, haven't been able to send that information back to the billing system. That's why we started estimating bills until meter readers who've been working across the province since the summer are able to reach all customers to manually read the meters. She concludes to date, more than 75% of customers have had a manual read. High power bills sparking anger in New Brunswick as well, but that is not what the province's energy minister is most worried about tonight. He's wondering if there will be enough power to go around. All of this comes back to Point Lepreau. The nuclear plant was supposed to come back online this week, but crews found an issue during some recent testing.
And during that testing, we did find an issue on the non-nuclear side of our station. And where we are today, we're progressing through the replacement of a bearing on our turbine generator system. No different than a bearing you might find in your car. The difference for us is our bearing is about the size of your car and weighs well over 4,000 pounds.
There's short of generation capacity. There's also, if this is a very regional cold snap, then our neighbors might be in the same situation. And this is the regular conversation that we're having around do energy security. I know we often talk about 2028. I'm concerned that 2028 may be the out date, it may be shorter.
Point Lepreau, in fact, scheduled for another maintenance shutdown in the spring. The woman accused of repeatedly stabbing a 6-year-old boy at a bus stop in Halifax earlier this year has pleaded not guilty to 3 charges. Elliot Chorney appeared in court via video link today. Yesterday, she elected trial by Supreme Court justice alone in the 3 charges that date back to February. The boy was rushed to hospital with serious injuries after an attack at a downtown bus stop. Nova Scotia wants police to crack down on illegal cannabis shops, and the government is asking 13 Mi'kmaq chiefs for their cooperation. Public safety is said to be the reason behind all of it. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more.
Nova Scotia's Attorney General says the illegal cannabis market is growing out of control, and he wants police to crack down.
And we want to make sure that we have any cannabis being dispensed in Nova Scotia through the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation, because that protects public health and public safety.
A provincial scan found more than 115 illegal cannabis shops, more than doubling the 51 NSLC cannabis shops.
Right now, the Cannabis Control Act in Nova Scotia is the law of the land. As the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, it's my job to make sure that laws are enforced, and those laws apply to everyone across the province.
Armstrong also wrote the 13 Mi'kmaq chiefs asking them for their support, saying unlicensed sales cannot continue. But Indigenous cannabis advocates firmly disagree with the province's approach, saying they have inherent and treaty rights to trade and sell goods like cannabis freely on their land, and call any crackdown infringing on their Mi'kmaq sovereignty.
Having the province publicly shame us and treat us as if we're black market criminals and that our treaty rights aren't existent, and it's been extremely difficult.
The Attorney General said he's not aware of any inherent Aboriginal rights to sell cannabis.
We'll have ongoing negotiations and discussions with First Nations bands on the opportunity they have. But right now, the only legal distributor of cannabis in Nova Scotia is the Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation.
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
2 of Moncton's oldest schools will be replaced in the coming years as part of the province's capital budget for education. The schools have certainly served their time. Sunnybrae was built back in 1956. Forest Glen opened in 1965. Officials say the tentative plan is to build a new sort of combined middle school where the Forest Glen currently stands.
And our understanding that the new school will be built on the current location at Forest Glen. We do have enough space. We do have space there to build a new school and then drop the old school.
Parents we spoke with today are pleased with the plan, saying it is long overdue. A timely service of hope and healing in downtown Halifax tonight.
And I pray that we will leave feeling a little more whole, a little more hopeful.
The Anglican Cathedral Church of All Saints hosting this Blue Christmas service of hope and healing tonight. The event is specially designed for people who find the holidays difficult because of past losses current problems or even anxiety about the future.
It's a place, a worship service, to make space for all those feelings that we can have, the unhappier feelings, and we hope also bring people toward the light, toward a more hopeful feeling.
The annual event welcomes people of all faiths or none of the above. That includes those who are suffering illness, depression, or economic hardship, maybe miss somebody special, or have difficult memories of past holiday seasons. And speaking of the holidays, despite the trade tensions for much of the year, a long-standing international tradition continued in Boston tonight.
3, 2, 1, light that tree!
The city's annual tree lighting ceremony, always a popular event. Tonight, no exception. Look at the fireworks. Literal center of the festivities is, of course, the tree itself, an annual donation from the province of Nova Scotia for Boston's immediate aid following the Halifax explosion back in 1917. Some great entertainment on the stage tonight as well. This year's tree, by the way, was a white spruce from Lunenburg County, 13.7 meters tall. It's about 45 feet. Christmas season has officially started in Beantown. All right, still to come tonight, Kaylin's full forecast, and we'll unpack the unsettling details in a new food price report. Coming up next, though, a good season so far.
The quality of the lobsters we're finding at this shop here really well.
Winter fishery is going pretty well, as a matter of fact. We've got an update for you when CTV News continues.
With Aaron and Peter. Inappropriate Christmas decor. Tell us about that tomorrow at 6.
And we're giving away $20,000 for the holidays. Moves 20K holiday. Keyword at 6 a.m.
Of course, the incoming cold temperatures will certainly make work uncomfortable for the many lobster crews fishing off Nova Scotia. What is kind of warming their hearts at the moment is a solid catch of large lobsters and pretty decent prices so far. CTV's Jonathan McGinnis has more.
One after another, boats return to the wharf in Eastern Passage to unload the day's catch. The Double Trouble has been out since early this morning. They're bringing in about 1,400 pounds. Patrick DeWolf helps lift the stuffed crates ashore.
Catches are doing well. The quality of the lobsters we're finding at this shop here really well.
DeWolf then grades each lobster.
Check them, check by these on the bottom.
Grouping them by weight and quality. Soft-shelled lobsters are less desirable.
The harder the shell, the better the lobsters.
This shop in Eastern Passage sells directly to the customer. Rachel Romke is seeing unusually large lobsters coming in during the first 2 weeks of the season.
I've been seeing 6 pounds, 7 pounds, 8 pounds so far already early in the season. Normally I don't see the big guys till later in the season.
The shop deals with a lot of orders. Some want pre-cooked lobsters, which are steamed right on the wharf. Romke also gets a lot of requests from people outside the HRM.
I just had a customer call me from Cape Breton. He's driving up to come get lobsters next week. I have a guy from Toronto setting up his own shipment arrangements for UPS to come pick up lobsters to send out there.
These could be the last lobsters unloaded for the next couple days. With bitter cold and high winds rolling into the area, some captains plan to keep their boats tied up until the weather clears. As for prices, right now it's usually between about $11 and $12 a pound, and that's based on an estimated shore price because that shore price has not yet been set, so the price could still change. Jonathan McGinnis, CTV News, Eastern Passage, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, John. Time for a quick little break here, but when we return, it's your complete maritime weather forecast. These pictures from a little earlier in the Halifax area when it was wet before it turned to snow. Kaylin's full forecast coming up next. Okay, fourth day of December. It feels a lot more like mid-January out there tonight, and colder to come, I guess.
Yeah, I don't call it cold front for no reason. This one is certainly living up to that name. It's ushering in some of that air that was sourced out of the polar region, really pooled up around Hudson Bay throughout much of this week. And now that increasingly gusty northwest wind that's around the Maritimes for tonight, that's bringing in directly out of Quebec and into the region. So it's a combination of cold air as well as high winds that are going to give us some wind chill values during the overnight start of the day for tomorrow, making it feel into the minus 20s, except in the northwest of New Brunswick, where there's a cold warning out, where the wind chill could actually make it feel into the minus 30s. We also have wind warnings out for Kings County and Prince Edward Island, Antigonish County, and across Cape Breton. Some of the peak northwest wind gusts through Friday morning could approach 90 kilometers per hour. And as that cold wind blows over ocean waters, it brings with it a risk of snow squalls. And a snow squall watch out for Kings County, Pictou, Antigonish County, and Inverness and Victoria counties in Cape Breton. More on the snow squalls in a moment. In fact, as we take a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, you can kind of see the forecast model trying to pick up on the presence of those squalls. It'd be this narrow band of blue off the Northumberland Strait directed towards parts of Pictou and Antigonish counties, and another band across the east of Prince Edward Island that's sort of directed towards Inverness and Victoria counties in Cape Breton. There'll be a lower risk of a couple of snow squalls off of the Bay of Fundy in around areas of the Annapolis Valley and the coastline at the southwest of Nova Scotia. And the risk of snow squalls in general diminishes into and through Friday afternoon as the winds ease up a little bit. Now, as far as watching out for driving conditions in those snow squalls, which can be one of the trickiest things with them, because if you hit one of them, visibility comes down. You could run into some snow-covered roads. The areas that you want to watch out for are in Kings County, Prince Edward Island, parts of the number 2, for example, as well as the roads in and around the north shore of Nova Scotia, like the 104 running past the Antigonish area, and spots in Cape Breton, parts of the 105, the 19, and certainly the Cabot Trail climbing up into higher elevations. Lows in the forecast for tonight for most of the region will be falling well down to the minus teens, some minus 20s possible up around the northwest of New Brunswick. And then highs in the forecast for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick between minus 7 and minus 12, with central and southern parts of the province with high temperatures between minus 7 and minus 11. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures between minus 5 and minus 8. In eastern areas of Nova Scotia, high temperatures mostly between minus 3 and minus 6 for Cape Breton and minus 5 to minus 7 for the mainland. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia with highs between minus 4 and minus 8. And in the southwest of Nova Scotia, high temperatures between minus 3 and minus 6. 7-day outlook for New Brunswick coming up for the weekend. Flurries on Saturday, still cold, a mix of sun and cloud on Sunday. Fresh round of colder air arrives Sunday night into Monday. May see some snow on Monday, a mix of sun and cloud, cold on Tuesday of next week. Temperatures moderating Wednesday into Thursday, but that's only because on Thursday we may see a system bring in a mix of snow and rain. For Nova Scotia in the forecast, cold start to the weekend, chance of flurries on both Saturday and Sunday. Snow possible on Monday of next week. Colder air in place on Tuesday with a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures rising Wednesday into Thursday with the possibility of rain on Thursday itself. And for Prince Edward Island for the weekend forecast, a mix of sun and cloud on Saturday, followed by flurries in the forecast for Sunday. Snow on Monday, followed by a chance of flurries, colder temperatures on Tuesday of next week. Watching for rain on Thursday. Bruce.
All right, thanks, sir. Step aside for just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. There is more to come.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Price forecast is kind of sounding the alarm for 2026. The Dalhousie University report suggests grocery bills could climb another 4 to 6%. As CTV's Vanessa Wright tells us tonight, it's not just the supermarkets. Restaurant prices are expected to rise as well.
Food will soon take up a bigger share of Canadian household budgets. Dalhousie University's latest report is projecting a 4 to 6% increase in food prices. Meat is the main driver of food inflation, up 7.2% this year. It's expected to rise another 5 to 7% next year, and it doesn't end there.
Pantry products at the center of the store, dry pasta, sauces, spices, nuts, coffee, those types of products, they're likely to become more expensive in 2026, unfortunately.
In total, the average family of 4 can expect to pay nearly $1,000 more for groceries.
It's definitely disappointing to hear. I mean, grocery prices have already been increasing quite a bit in general lately, and it's hard enough to keep food on the table as it is.
It's more expensive to buy it in a restaurant, so we wouldn't go out to a restaurant and order a steak anymore.
And rising food costs is just one battle they face.
Operating costs for our businesses has dramatically increased, not just around food. We're talking insurance 15%, labor 11%, and that's just this year. This has been an ongoing chronic issue for our operators since 2019.
While its impact will be felt nationwide, Charlebois says Maritimers will especially feel the pinch. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Vanessa. Time for one final break. Coming up, happy times for Hope Swinimer as work begins on a new bear cub sanctuary at Hope for Wildlife. First, though, it's your wake-up weather. Here's a look at Wentworth tonight. Ski Wentworth. Looks like you could go skiing right now, doesn't it? Kaylin's wake-up weather coming up next.
Hi, it's Katie Kelly. The 62nd annual Christmas Daddies Telethon is happening December 6th on CTV. We're wrapping the studio in sparkle, smiles, and holiday cheer, helping maritime children since 1964. You don't want to miss this celebration.
Friday morning upon us, the weekend almost here. Let's kick it off with a look at the wake-up weather.
Yeah, definitely bundle up for those morning hours. That's when it's going to be coldest. The wind chill at its worst, as there'll be some high and gusty northwest winds. In the afternoon, the wind eases up a little bit, and so will the wind chill with it, but does remain cold across the region. Remember, be careful about the potential for those snow squalls. Eastern parts of PEI, the north shore of mainland Nova Scotia, and Cape Breton. Bruce.
Thank you, Kaylin. Well, Hope for Wildlife is setting up for some tiny new arrivals. The Nova Scotia Rescue Centre has been given permission now to start work on a special bear cub sanctuary that'll give orphaned cubs a safe place to grow up and heal before eventually returning to the wild. CTV's Mike Lamb met up with Hope Swinimer, who reveals that all of this is really a dream come true for her.
We have 2 bobcats. They came in 2 days in a row. We have some very good news we'd like to share with everybody. It's something we've been working towards for over 20 years now. So we've finally been granted permission to start the process of being able to rehabilitate black bear cubs. We've always had the goal of being able to rehab, all the species of wildlife in Nova Scotia. And I mean, if you look back 15 years ago, we weren't allowed to do bobcat, and we finally got permission to do them. And same as the white-tailed deer, when we started rehab, we didn't have them on our permit. So everything takes time and effort, and it's really nice to see that we're making that step forward to get the black bear cubs added to our permit. So we got lots of work ahead of us. We've been able to secure a piece of land. It's 100 acres up in Cape Breton, so far away from people and the sounds of humans and that kind of thing. So it'll be an excellent location to do our work. DNR will be with us every step of the way, approving every step, everything from the gauge of the wire we use to how to be able to feed them through chutes so they have very little human contact while they're with us, recovering and growing up. So all of those things will be carefully thought out, and hopefully we'll be able to start building in the spring. We're incredibly happy to be on this journey to be able to get the black bear cubs in Nova Scotia, give them the medical care they need and get them back out to the wild.
Good news. Thank you, Hope, for all the work you do. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca. If you missed something tonight, you'd like to take another look, it's always your home for news. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thanks for staying up late with us this evening. Have a good night. We hope to see you again tomorrow for Friday.